I feel like I've been on this journey my whole life because it started with my name, Talitha Cumi, which literally means little girl wake up. And I can't say it's been easy. There's been a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, but I believe life is all in your decision making. The I Am Talitha Cumi show is a combination of things that I love to talk about, and I want to enlighten you, encourage you, and inspire you to be the best you can be with some help from me and my guests. Let's talk about it.
What's poppin', buddy? See, I got the leftovers from Auntie. Let's go ahead and crack these damn leftovers and make it good. It's a rib slider.
And we are live here at the Botham Jean Foundation Gala event, you guys. Did you know that the real New Year is not on January 1st? It's on March 20th. So the real New Year's Eve is March 19th, with New Year's Day being March 20th. So you guys don't worry if you haven't kept up your New Year's resolutions, because you still have a little bit of time. So is there anything that I left?
No, other than my name is pronounced Georgia Nay.
Georgia, I was pronouncing that all wrong. Georgia Nay. My bad. I hate when people pronounce my name wrong too.
Tappity Kuma.
Hey, y'all. Hey, it is your girl, Talitha Cumi, on this gloomy Friday. And I want to welcome you to the I Am Talitha Cumi show on the Food for the Soul Media Group Network. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, you can catch us here every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. on our Food for the Soul YouTube station, Food for the Soul Media Group FB page, and check out our re-air audio shows on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Shout out to Quan with Gorilla Cross Media on the ones and twos, keeping us looking and sounding right. Shout out to my baby in the chat room right now. And this is going to be an awesome conversation tonight. So let's go. Our disclaimer, as always, these are our opinions, not fact, just our opinions. And some of the opinions of our guests are not always the opinions of the I Am Talitha Cumi show, Food for the Soul Media Group, or Gorilla Cross Media. And if you want to weigh in, leave us a comment in the chat room on our YouTube station or FB page.
And if you are tuning in on Facebook, please follow us and like our page and share it, of course. If you're watching live on our Food for the Soul Media Group YouTube station right now, hit that subscribe button for me. And also go to our Instagram and follow us at Food for the Soul Media Group. And I am Talitha _Cumi. And you can follow me at Solid Truth LV and at Follow the Fro. We are looking for sponsors and donors to help us keep our show a priority in bringing you great news, good discussions, and great guests. And we need you. If you're looking to be a guest or promote your business with us, go to foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com or inbox us today.
So you guys, last week we had special guest April Mays of April's Famous and spotlight artist William Jordan Jr. And he was absolutely amazing. We were talking about when what you ate effed up your mental. So shout out to them. But tonight we are talking about when you got to start back at one.
Yeah, and it is the third Friday, otherwise known as the Double Take Friday. This month, we're talking about redoing the redo. And before we get started, we're doing a double take on this article we found about gun laws and gun rights, a very serious topic. Thousands of students around the country staged a national school walkout to protest gun violence 1 month after a gunman killed 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida in 2018. In an effort to pressure Congress to pass gun reform legislation, students all over the country walked out of their classrooms for 17 minutes at 10 a.m. local time. Many students of color also demanded that lawmakers divest from plans to enlist more officers and arm teachers in schools and invest in more mental health professionals and better school infrastructure. And the 2024 date was set to happen yesterday, which was March 14th. Actually, today's the 15th. Not sure if that happened or not, but we're bringing this up because at that time, weeks after the shooting, the White House has supported plans to arm teachers with guns, and lawmakers have also proposed increasing the number of school police officers. At that time, many advocates worried that these policies would further the criminalization of youth, especially in predominantly Black and brown schools, where students already face disproportionate surveillance and police force. But since that Parkland shooting in 2018, there have been over 900 shootings in K through 12 school settings, according to recent data. Since the Parkland shooting, there have been over 900 shootings, and let's do a double take. Yeah. Let's do a double take. Should teachers be armed? Now, I'll be honest with you. I have been working in the Clark County School District for a network, an organization called Poetry Promise. We promote literacy and poetry in the schools, and I've had a chance to briefly interact with students for maybe an hour or two a day in the after-school programs and during that Nevada Reading Week, which was last week. We had a wonderful time. So I really feel that we should have protection for the teachers. I'm not going to agree that the teachers themselves should have guns, because I think that teachers are basically focused on the protection and the learning and the growth of the students, and there should be someone to protect the teachers. We have to find a different way to protect the teachers. So having a force that is going to be connected with the students, the community, and the teachers, and be able to interact with them, to be observant and to be vigilant and to protect the students and the faculty and the staff. If anything should happen, I think that that would be a better idea than to have guns. I grew up around guns, and to be honest with you, it was very traumatic for me. And I was in situations where, things didn't end so well. I've lost quite a few members of my family, friends, and people in the community. So I myself don't carry a gun, but my children do. So that goes to show. So that's my opinion, and that's the double take. What do you think? Leave your expression in the comments and tell us what you think. Tell us what you think.
Yes.
And we'll be right back.
Premium Grooming Essential. Crisp products provide you with excellent hair and skin products, along with high-quality grooming products for the hair of the future. Their multi-use professional product for barbers and cosmetologists will make your desired hairlines, goatees, and eyebrows pleasingly crisp, keeping your desired lines and shapes crisp. By Mook the Barber. Go to www.crispproducts.com. CRISPRODC Mook today. Crisp. Mook the Barber. Crisp. Mook the Barber.
And we are back. So as we get into the show, I need to introduce our guest for the evening. Rodney Smith grew up in the Jim Crow rural South on the family farm, and later in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn, New York. He attended Brooklyn Technical High School and college in North Carolina. He enlisted in the United States Air Force in 1981 and retired with over 26 years of active service with multiple decorations and recognitions like the Outstanding Service, Commendation, the Meritorious, is that, how do you say that? Meritorious Service Medals, and a Purple Heart. More than 10 years ago, Rodney established a food donation and delivery program that delivers 7 tons of food to the Catholic Charities Food Bank. Along with the former school board trustee Shirley Barber, Rodney collected books and donated 50,000 books to school children in the historic West Side. This effort has been continued with support from the Living Sociology program at annually collecting and donating over 15,000 books to homeless and needy youth. Rodney also collected, repaired, and redistributed over 400 computers to local schools, a domestic violence shelter, veterans, needy children, and anyone else that just needed a computer. Today, Rodney is back at it again. He has established the ARB Daily Bread food program and an integral part of the Black Book Media Cares food organization. It is an integral part. With Rodney Smith at the helm, these organizations have given away millions of dollars of food in just over a year to those who are in need of assistance. Rodney is a lifetime member of Disabled American Veterans, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Military Order of the Purple Heart, a member of the NAACP, Black Business Council of Nevada, and Pi Rho Sigma Military Society, Inc. That is a lot. I love reading people's bios, man. And I know they're sitting there trying to look all humble, knowing that, they're proud of their accomplishments, man. That's so dope. After reading your bio, and I'm sorry, welcome to the show, Mr. Smith. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
After reading your bio, I didn't see when you actually made your way to Las Vegas. Like, what brought you here, and why did you decide to make this your home?
So I came to Las Vegas. Well, first of all, thank you. So,
Yeah.
I made it to Las Vegas through work in 81,
Okay.
actually.
So you've been out here that long. Okay.
Well, that's why I came back and forth working, and
Okay.
I was actually working out of California.
Uh-huh.
And then eventually I moved here in 85 permanently, and I was stationed on the Nevada Test and Training Range for a number of years, and that gave me some experience here. But it also isolated me, and it wasn't really until after that I sort of integrated myself into the local community and knew that one day when I retired, that this was the place I wanted to retire at. So I did a couple other tours of duty in different places. And sure enough, I got lucky enough to come back to Nellis Air Force Base outside of Las Vegas to finally retire.
Well, why not California?
Multiple reasons.
Okay.
Maybe the number one reason is the cost.
Okay. Yeah. That part.
It was hugely expensive in California, and it really wasn't the life that I was looking for. Back then, Las Vegas had a lot of open space.
Okay.
A lot of open space. You seldom saw people on the streets. It was definitely a car town. It was very small. As a matter of fact, when I first came to Las Vegas, there was less than 1 million people in the entire state.
Wow.
Less than 1 million people in the entire state. There were less people per square foot than any other state in the union here in Nevada.
Wow. I didn't know that.
So what it meant, and also here's another thing that people don't know. Even though our overall population may seem small, we have the largest Black population per capita west of Texas.
Really?
That includes California. Right here in Nevada, we have the largest Black population west of Texas. And what that means to me, when you put in the mix that Las Vegas is a relatively new city.
Yeah.
So that means there's a lot of things that haven't been done here, which means there's opportunity here.
Absolutely. Say that one more time. I just needed to, before you ask the question, solid. Brother Hinton Stinson said, we need guns in our homes. Don't let society disarm us. Some of us are prisoners of our own homes and outdoors.
Yes, I that definitely is a factor in living here. And I come from the South where everybody had a gun. All the children learn to shoot. And
Yeah.
so my apologies for that. So the thing that I want to be able to do is just rest, relax, and abide. And in order for me to do that, I may not be the person who carries the gun. I just want the people who do to be sane, sober, and trained.
Yeah.
And so my question for you, Rodney, because thank you so much for being here. You know, Rodney is my uncle, daddy, brother, leader, and being with you on Fridays at the gathering and just seeing all the things that you've done in the community. You became a part of the community, but you are the community. Tell us about what it is that just drives you to be able to do all of the wonderful things that you do in our community. I've gone to so many events. I've seen you speak. I've heard you do numerous discussions, and I take notes. I take notes, and I take avid notes. I'm hopefully one day going to write a biography about him if he lets me. But you know, with our own voices, with the gathering, with the food drives, with all of the wonderful things you do in the city, what drives you to be able to do that and to be able to continue for all these years?
Well, I think with most people, it goes back to our upbringing, really. Like I said, I did spend a large portion of my early years on the farm, but I was back and forth between the farm and Bed-Stuy. And you're talking about two totally opposing worlds. And, you know, I always tell people I learned how to survive in the city, but I learned how to live in Carolina. I learned how to relate to people. I learned how to respect elders and gain knowledge from them. And I come from a people who shared because they had something to share. And I remember being on the farm, I didn't even know what money was because there was no need for money because we grew or raised just about everything we ate or hunted and whatever. We had everything except for cows, and the neighbor down the road had cows. So I traded eggs and chickens for cows and for milk and things like that. So there was really no need of money. And what that showed me at a very early age, that we actually have a lot of what we need, but we may not recognize it. And so when I came to Las Vegas, coming from New York, you know, New York is an old city and it's well established. The only elected official I met in New York was Robert Kennedy, and that was back in the late 60s when he was running for president. And so coming to Las Vegas, you get to sit next to a congressman, a senator, a city councilman, a county commissioner, you name it, at lunch. Maybe, you know, you go to an event, there's that person. These are the levers of power, the seats of power we have close proximity to here in Las Vegas, and there's a need. So when there's a need and you're blessed with the ability to satisfy that need, then I believe it's for that individual, whomever it may be, in this case you're speaking of me, to do what I can to satisfy that need with the gifts and talents that have been blessed to me and that have also been bestowed upon me by those who came before me.
Wow. Talking about that, I named our topic starting back at 1 because I feel like some of us are finally starting to wake up to some of the things going on around us. Some are actually doing something about it, like yourself. But I feel like our true history is important to continue to share so we don't repeat the same mistakes, right? That got us here. And so do you think that we are moving forward realistically, or are we just doing stuff that looks good, like with no real purpose behind it?
Well, I do agree that history is hugely important.
Yes.
And when I came back from the war, I lost my memory.
Wow. Okay.
And I used to have to carry a PDA to tell me who I was, or whomever that may encountered me, who I was, where I lived, who to contact, that type of thing. And as you can imagine, that was a traumatic experience.
Scary, yeah.
But what it told me is that when you lose your memory, you have no memory, you lose yourself. You have no self. You have no sense of who you are. And so if a people lose their memory, their history, then my perspective is, from my own personal experience, losing my memory, that you lose who you are.
Okay.
And if you don't have something to tether you to who you were, then anyone can make you anything else besides yourself.
Right.
And so just like that works personally, that works for us as a people. So knowing our history is a huge important. That's what empowers us. And our history is what gives us the sustenance. It gives us our being, our belonging. And without that belonging, you tend to sort of be like a leaf in the wind. And so I do believe that the things that we're doing are making a difference.
Okay.
I guess the real question is it making a difference that will last?
Yes, sustainable.
Because we can make a lot of differences, but if that difference is for just now, I'm not going to say it's for nothing, but if the goal is to have sustainment, then we need to reevaluate what we're doing. Maybe our focus might not always be in the right places.
Okay.
And if we're exerting energy in the wrong places, we can make change, but it's not going to get us to where we want to be.
And that before Sal, I'm sorry, and I don't want to because I just want to just soak up your knowledge. What do you think then about the CRT being taught in schools? I know that there is a big debate about that, and it's kind of fallen by the wayside. But what do you think about all of the debate that was surrounding that, about whether kids should learn about our history like that, or whether they shouldn't? You know, what were your thoughts when all that was going on?
Well, to be quite frank, I think it's a straw man argument. It's really a red herring. And what I mean by that is CRT is not taught in our schools today. CRT has not been taught in our schools today. So what we've allowed ourselves is to let a certain group of people create a boogeyman. And then from that boogeyman, frame the discussion.
Okay.
And so what I would say is we need to reject the boogeyman because it's not real.
Okay.
It's a fallacy. And let's go to the reality. The reality is that what we call critical race theory comes from critical legal theory. And critical legal theory is a class. It's not even a course. It's a class taught for lawyers. And when you think about law schools represent less than 60% of universities, and this is a class that lawyers take, if they want in that 6%, you're talking about a minute number of people who even knew what the heck CRT was. And it definitely was at a higher level of education, and it never has been in our K through 12 schools. So that's my first thought. And then the second thought is when people present a lie, we should not continue the lie. We confront the lie, and then we shed light, truth, and fact. And history, we don't call it CWT when we, or CET when we learn European history, right, in theory, or white history in theory. We just call it history. So African American history and culture should be taught in our schools because that history, remember, it gives you who you are.
Yep. That's I just wondered that because I'm like that it just played into what you just said. So okay.
But if I can add one more thing, we think about history as a separate course. European history and culture is taught in every course. We learn European history and culture in math, science, of course, literature, and every other subject. And it should be no different from African American and African history and culture because, after all, it is the first culture on this planet. It is also what helped this country establish itself as the economic as well as military powerhouse that it has become. And that came from the first people, which were our people. But if we don't educate ourselves as well as others, then they have the perception that everything that we have came from them and that we should be beholden to them, and that gives them a sense of grandeur that they did not earn.
All right.
Agreed. And I am one of those students because thank you for all of that knowledge and wisdom. And you guys, if I could just give honor and praise for the opportunity to just be in your presence on all of these weeks. You have a group called The Gathering that has been going on, if I'm not mistaken, 16 years. 17 years. We're in our 17th year. I just started a couple of years ago. You guys, it is a college course. It is my critical race theory. It is my African American history class. I have learned so much just listening to the people that come to the gathering. And I just wanted to ask you, what is it that you think we should do to be able to absorb the knowledge of a person like you? Everybody can't come to the gathering. The gathering is at the Westside Oasis at 808 Westlake Mead, and it starts at 12 every single Friday, whether I'm there but Rodney's always there. He's been there for every meeting. How can we expand the knowledge that is given at the gathering and all of these discussions that you have? How can we absorb this information from you? I mean, are you going to write a book? I know you do many radio shows. How can we follow you? What can we do? Because for me, I wish I could just kind of hold your hand and pull on your coattails and just follow you around, because every conversation, and I mean this seriously, every conversation is a wealth of knowledge, just like sitting at the feet of my grandfather and my elders. And coming from Philadelphia and moving and migrating to South Carolina, I got a balance of both sides. So tell me what we can do. Tell me how we can get this knowledge from you.
So there's always someone who has it, because none of us know it all. We only know what we know, just like I only know what I know. It may be a little bit more than one person, but less than another, or it's something different. So we all have something to share. And I really believe we just have to open up our ears to whoever we are around and share. As I learned a lot of who I am from the late, great Sam Smith, who owned the Native Son bookstore, which was the only African-American bookstore in the entire state. And he was probably about 15 or so years older than me. And, I was already a middle-aged man, but I went into this bookstore like I was going to see my grandfather, because that was the feat that I set to learn things that I didn't know about Las Vegas, about Nevada, really the world, because he just had that broad of a spectrum of knowledge. And how he attained a lot of that knowledge was he read. And so one of the reasons why we give away the books is because we know that children, especially Black children, that have a personal library of 10 books or more, are less likely to come into contact with law enforcement, the legal system, teen pregnancy, but male or female, all of the ills of society. I said, simply by reading, having a personal library of 10 books. So what I encourage everybody to do, get some books. Find something that you like. It doesn't necessarily have to be on history, especially if that's not your thing. But find a topic that you like, because you will do what you like. And then as you begin to do what you like and become a better reader, because some people do have issues with reading, and it's like a muscle, you have to exercise it, and then broaden your scope. But also talk to the first sources of knowledge, which is your family, your mother, your father, if you're blessed to have a father or a father figure around, those aunts and uncles, and especially the grandparents, because really the grandparents are the holders of the knowledge. And that's been the tradition in our family since before we even got to this country, is the grandparents were the holders of the knowledge, and then they pass it on to the younger people.
How do you follow up to Solid's question though? How do you think, what can we do to get our younger generation interested in listening to what our elders have to say? Because it seems like there's such a disconnect in, them getting everything from social media, the media. And I'm wondering if we bring people in like yourself, or people in who really have this vast wealth of knowledge, will they even care? Will they listen? Will they be like, hey, he's he don't know what he's talking about. It's not like that. No. You know what I'm saying? How do we get them to get excited about listening to you all?
That's interesting, because I ran for Congress. And in running for Congress, one of the things I learned while I was out there on the campaign trail with the general is that most people don't know about politics and government. And what was interesting was young people contacting me and asking me to come to where they are, whether it's at Bobby's, at Raw Remedies, or wherever it was, even sometimes to their home. And they would get their friends together. Sometimes high school, most of the time college age, and in some cases right out of college, to just ask questions. And so what I would say to older people, welcome younger people asking you the question.
Yes.
Make yourself available to them. Make yourself approachable to them.
Right.
And then to younger people, what I would say is the whole purpose of us older people still being here is for you.
Yes.
So utilize the gift that you have been blessed with us people who have already bumped our heads, so you don't have to bump, at least not in the same place anyway, right? And it is a certain responsibility on us older people to avail ourselves, but there's also a responsibility on younger people
Yes.
to avail themselves to us. Because, we're a little slower now, so probably not good at chasing it.
Yeah, and that part. But it's so crazy because that leads into my next question. So when looking at the political climate right now, what opinions can you give to Black voters or the Black community and what's going on right now in politics? Anything?
Yeah, politics is what runs this country. Believe it or not, most wealth in this country was not made by someone pulling them up from their bootstraps, so to speak.
like
They're
they
not
say,
the
yeah.
self-made millionaire or billionaire. Most business people and corporations made their money off of government.
Okay.
Whether it's the government contract for whatever it is, most of them made the big dollars from government. And every 2 years in Nevada, our assembly makes new millionaires when they have sessions, because that's when they're talking about divvying up the money.
Okay.
That's our lives. Some people say that I don't want to be in the politics. Well, let me tell you, politics is in everything that we do, whether it's from driving, getting our hair done, going to the barbershop to get that crisp look, right? That is all controlled by the government. And for too long, I think Black Americans, African Americans have kind of, after the 60s, we thought we had made it. And I'm a product of the 60s. And I'm telling you from experience, we got the Voting Rights Act, we got the Civil Rights Act, we got the Fair Housing Act, the Fair Lending Act. We got all of these words which told us that we had made it, that we were a part of the fabric of America. We were just like everybody else. The problem is we were acting just like everybody else. Everybody else wasn't acting like we were just like everyone else. And we lost a lot of ground. And I accept as a baby boomer a large portion of that responsibility in not continuing to push because we thought the fight was over. Well, the reality is the fight is never over. And we always have to continue to push. And for one of the things that those people who are in a position, we have to ensure that politics and government is taught in our schools. Our government only works when you have an educated electorate. And the people in power would prefer not to have an educated electorate because then they're like that leaf blowing in the breeze, right? They'll go how the wind blows them. And we have to realize that we are the bosses. We are the employers. That's why it's called representative government. They're supposed to represent us. But if we don't give them something to represent, then they'll represent themselves and become greedy and fat off the corporate entities that are out there that will constantly feed those lobbyists and pay them. So we, as older people, have to share with younger people that this is important and it governs everything that we do. And then again, there is some onus on the younger people in recognizing that they don't know what they don't know, and then reach out to people who do know something. Sam used to always tell us, Rodney, it's all written down. It's all in the books. Pick up a book,
And read
open
it.
your mouth, open your ears, open your mind, but then execute. You have to go out and vote. And let me tell you, if you do not go out and vote, do not think that makes a difference to those in office because you don't count. I can tell you from my personal experience running for office, the people that don't vote do not count and are not thought about. It's only the people who do vote that the elected officials put any focus on. And when you don't vote, somebody else is voting. And they may vote for their interests, which might not be your interest.
Beneficial to us, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely touches me personally because one of the first conversations that Rodney and I had was in reference to me not voting in the last election. And I had many debates with me, you, Alex, everyone, because they thought that I was just not a person who I just didn't register to vote. I'm very much registered to vote, but I chose not to vote because I was uneducated or miseducated about who I was voting for. And by being around Rodney, Alex, Miss Michelle, all of the wonderful people over at the gathering, I've learned, and even some of the presidential candidates, some of the elected officials, a lot of the going to the brunch, the prayers breakfast, I have learned so much. When it comes to something like that, have you ever considered teaching a course at some of the universities here? Perhaps doing something where we can just en masse come and be educated and ask you questions. I feel very grateful that I'm able to do that, and talk to you on a personal level. But I know so many people much younger than me, even my children, who could definitely benefit from being educated on the political system, the political climate here in Las Vegas, what's going on. Is that something that you've considered?
Well, I haven't considered it just like that, but really what we're doing tonight is a form of education. Okay. Thanks to you all. This is educating the people. What you're doing is you're planting seeds. And now once those seeds get planted, it has to be tended to, right? It's to cultivate it so that it can mature and grow. But this is a part of education. So you all are educating people every time you do your show. As far as me, what I do is when we have the gathering, I'm opening myself up to anyone who comes to the gathering. And some people have suggested that we do an evening gathering, maybe on a Saturday night or something before it gets too late, because people still have to get their party on, right? And I understand. And
this is much better than a party.
I'm open to that too. What I want to do is I want to meet people where they are and how they are. And so whatever the demand, the need is, the desire of the people that's associated with me, I am saying on this show, as I say all the time, I avail myself to all of you. And whatever I have, it is not mine. It is here for you. My life has been mostly lived. And so the idea is to take those experiences and that knowledge that I've been blessed to then pass it on to the next so that they will actually be better than me, more knowledgeable than me, more active than me. In the military, we say that we should always be training our replacements. Well, yeah. I'm actively training my replacements.
And I definitely see that. I was always told leaders don't create more followers, they create better leaders. And I do appreciate you for doing that. You mentioned before, Bobby, at Raw Remedies, and I want to mention Analog Dope Bookstore, which is another Black-owned bookstore, as well as the Multicultural Bookstore. And I'm an avid reader. I've always been an avid reader. My daughter is an avid reader. My son is an avid reader. So I appreciate that. But what we have been doing is reading to the youth and reading for the youth. And we want to encourage reading and writing and literacy. The organization I work with called Poetry Promise, that's what we do. So I want to thank you so much for, just even mentioning that and bringing that up, because those are places that you can go and get historically relevant literature and learn more about it. And they have books for the little ones that are multicultural, very diverse. So we're not starting with the big giant encyclopedia type information. People have written books and they're very colorful and they're very pretty. And then we have so many writers from so many cultural backgrounds. So I encourage you to visit any one of those bookstores here and all of the bookstores here. The library is free and open to the public, and we encourage you to utilize your resources, because that's kind of where I got mine from. My grandparents raised me and gave me a lot of information, but I was a reader. I'm still a reader, and so I appreciate that. And so we are going to take another commercial break. If you just tuned in, this is the I Am Talitha Cumi Show, and I am Solid Truth. And when we come back, we will have more from our community leader, community activist, veteran, and historian, Mr. Rodney Smith. We'll be right back.
I'm like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. He would be so busy with church, so busy with helping other people, he would shoo me off the phone. I wasn't close to my dad. I wasn't close to my brothers and sisters.
I was young in my first marriage, had a child, and it wasn't going right. And I was turning to a person that I know that I'm not. Very, very aggressive and angry. I was depressed, and I knew that I had to get out of that situation. Picked up the phone one day, and all I said was, Dad, can I come home? He didn't ask why. He just said, sure, son. And that was it.
The issues that I believe me and my brother had was he did not seem to have time for her. That was our riff. I would call and say, hey, you promised that you were going to help me with XYZ. I need some help. And he would always promise to help. Sometimes the promise came through. Most of the times the promise did not.
And we are back, just basking in all of this knowledge. If you just joined us, thank you for tuning in to the I Am Talitha Cumi show on Food for the Soul Media Group. Our show tonight has been sponsored in part by the Orlay Collective. The Orlay Collective accessories, fashion, and art all in one place. www.burriscreates/OrlayWorldwide.com. Stand out from the ordinary.
Yes, and so thank you so much. And again, I just want to thank you, Mr. Rodney Smith, for being here. I just have one final comment, question, suggestion, thought. I really enjoy the conversations that we have, and I enjoy being able to, just bask in the history and the knowledge. I know that you talked about passing the torch and being able to, just groom the next generation of leaders. Are there any specific people that are here in the community that we should watch for? Any organizations that we should join, partner up with, follow, invest in, donate to? How can we contribute to what you already have going on and the people that you are actually grooming to come in and take over when that time comes? Tell me how we can keep the ball rolling.
Well, first of all, if you have a Friday free, join us at the gathering from 12 to 2 at Westside Oasis. We'd love to have you. As far as people that I have an eye on, well, I'm sitting next to one right now, and that's solid truth.
Thank you.
She's doing a thing with her poetry. She is the poet laureate for the gathering, and the words that she shares are so powerful. It's beautiful, and we miss you when you're not there. So that's one, and there's the of course the general. You have Alex Cherub, and if you think I know a thing or two, he knows 3 or 4. And so people like that are they're up and coming, and they're on the move. They're making a difference. Of course, we have the host of the show right here. She's out here doing things too. So what I say to people is, you find someone or some things that is of interest to you, that you have a desire to be a part of, that you like. Whatever that organization is, it doesn't have to be a legacy organization like the NAACP or the National Action Network. Maybe it's a skating group, or maybe it is a reading group. Whatever it is, that's where you find and you put your interest and you put your effort in, because then you're bound to make it better and become better in the process. And as you grow, then your interests grow, and that might lead to breaking out into different areas. But the first thing I always tell people is find what interests you, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be of an academic nature. It can just be pure fun. Find that and get involved. The key is getting involved.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think that you actually took my last question. It's similar to that, but it was just when starting back at 1, what does it look like having to start over? Like, what would you say that the West Side specifically could do to start making change other than what you just told us about getting involved in groups? What could be a significant change for us on the West Side, and then for America as a whole? What do you think? Like 2 things that you can say that we can do collectively.
Well, it's interesting that you had that question, because when I lost my memory, I had to start over. I literally had to start life over again, but I was an adult. Imagine that. Well, Las Vegas, to a certain extent, is almost like an adult. I say Las Vegas is an adolescent when you compare it to the age of other cities. But like a place like New York, and really like this country, what made this country grow so fast is that it took the best that every other country and culture had, and then it used what they brought to this country to benefit this fledgling country.
Okay.
Nevada, Las Vegas, as an adolescent city, that draws people from all over the country and literally all over the world. We are very similar to the country when it began. And what I would say, especially to people from the West Side, is be a little more open to the brain trust that these people from outside of Las Vegas, from outside of Nevada, bring. I come from New York that has rich culture and history. Well, that's something that I can bring here. Right. And so there are so many other people that's coming in from Chicago, it's coming in from Philly, Detroit. You know, they have this knowledge that the West Side, the historic West Side needs. And oftentimes they want to help, but they don't know how. They don't know the people on the West Side. And I always invite people to the gathering because I say, we're the welcome center for Blackness. Come and meet us so we can share the West Side, because you can walk on the West Side. You don't need to be armed to walk on the West Side. The crime rate is lower on the West Side than it is in Summerlin, believe it or not.
Wow.
So you have to integrate yourself with those that you want to work with and partner with. And so I say, for you newcomers, come to the West Side, and for those on the West Side, be a little more open and receptive to those folks coming to visit you.
Okay.
Yes.
I can get with that.
Yes. And speaking of the West Side, I have some announcement to make. I have been waiting for this for a whole year. We are hosting the Power of Poetry for National Poetry Month on April 12th, a Friday, right on the West Side, in the heart of the historic West Side, at the West Las Vegas Library Theater. The Power of Poetry is going to be there. It's a 3.5-hour event with phenomenal artists. We have our hostess, the comedian Lady AK. We have DJ Nottaboy. We have C-Bone Jones. MVP Speaks. And we even have Moody Black out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. We have a host of local artists as well. Trinity the Poet. We have Miss AV. We have Jen from Japan. Just a host of, just go to our event page. It's a free community event. I want everybody to come. I have been inspired to be able to create this event through the organization Poetry Promise, and it is invested in by the National Endowment of Arts and Clark County, and we thank our library district as well. Our poet laureate is going to be there. So you guys go and Google, search Power of Poetry, and get to see what the Power of Poetry has done for our community. I also have another event that's going to be going on specifically tomorrow at the Neon Museum with all of our young people. Sign up to go to STEAM Saturdays at the Neon Museum. Everybody knows about STEAM. I am the A in STEAM. The A is for arts, and I'll be teaching a poetry workshop there, a writing workshop, and just kind of hanging out with the kids for a couple of hours. It starts at 9:30 a.m. and it ends at 11:30 a.m. You can sign up on their website, or you can register at the door. Also, next week, we have a wonderful event on Wednesday, the first annual Las Vegas Afro Health Connect Black Health Networking event for health professionals. Going to be held at the Calabash African Kitchen from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. I am so sorry, but the event is all sold out. But what you can do is to network with the people who are putting on the event. Shout out to the Black Community Organization and Dreamsicle Foundation and Wellness Healing Gatherings. It's going to be a great event. We have so much going on. And on April 7th, I will be performing myself as a featured poet at the oh my goodness, at the Composer's Room for the event that's specifically called Late Night Whispers. And it's going to be a very, very soothing and very mellow event. We have live music every Sunday, but I'll be there on April 7th. You can find all this out if you follow me at Solid Truth LV on social media, specifically on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. Just Google Solid Truth, or you can Google Solid Truth LLC. All of the information is posted for you so you can get the dates and the times and the locations. So we definitely appreciate that. So we've been discussing when you have to start back at 1 with our special very special guest, Mr. Rodney Smith. And I just wanted to say thank you again, Rodney. And do you have any closing remarks, anything that you would like to share with us, any upcoming events, any political rallies, he stirs up the community. He's definitely an activist. So do you have anything like that you'd like to share with us?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say to everyone, please get involved. Please get involved. We always say that our children are our future, and that's our most precious things that we have. Well, our children's future is at stake in this upcoming election, as it is in every election. And there are some challenges out there, and it's time for us to rise up and meet those challenges. And I would give a special request to those of African descent. We have always been the spice of this country. We have always been the ones that have pushed this country to be who it says that it is. And this election cycle is no different. So if we want this country to be who it says that it is, that everyone can have those opportunities, then it's time for us to assert ourselves, because we are the ones who determine who gets elected. So let's go out there and make sure that we're thinking of our children as we go and cast those votes. And if you don't know who to vote for, if you don't know what to look for, of course, you can always come to the gathering every Friday from 12 to 2, and sometimes longer, depending on the conversation.
I'm glad he said that, because I've never left there too.
and it's at the Westside Oasis at 808 West Lake Mead Boulevard. That's 808 West Lake Mead Boulevard, 12 to 2 every Friday.
Yes. And what's important, I think, is for shows like this and for the opportunity to be able to let people know what we're doing in the community, is because a lot of times when newcomers come, they don't have a clue of where to go. They have no clue of where to start. I mean, anything. And so I know what has helped me is being a part of the Urban Chamber, because that's where I learned where my people are. Because I came and I'm like, where do my people go? Where are they hanging out? Especially people my age. Because I'm like, I'm not in the clubs anymore. I need to go and have some stimulating conversation, And so I'm excited that you are talking about the gathering. I didn't know if it was like, on the low. So that's why I didn't pump it up and be like, hey, it's a gathering. So I didn't know if you were like, hey, I just want special people to come. I didn't know it was open for everybody. So I'm happy to hear about that. And Solid, you're a wealth of information about what's going on. So if you guys don't know what's going on and you need something to do, you're trying to hang out, have a good time, you don't have to always go to the club, back it up. You can go to some of these awesome events that Solid is a part of. And so I want to thank you again to Mr. Rodney. Like I said, wealth of knowledge. And I'm excited that you came on and gave us all of the information that we need, which is basically pick up a doggone book and read it. Pick up a book and read it, even if we're on audiobooks, y'all. Bobby does a whole lot of audiobooks. Just listen to that information so that you will have more knowledge about what's going on in our world, what's going on in our country. So as we close the show out, please keep in mind we are looking for positive artists who would like to have a live featured performance to end the show every week. You can be a Christian artist, a secular artist, but we just need music with some substance and positivity. If you're interested, you can email us at foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com for more information, and you could be our next guest. And now, here is a flashback from performer Kiss Kiss with My Mind.
That was so accurate. How y'all doing? I don't own the rights to this. I just own the rights to the vibe. I hope you guys enjoy. We up in here with all these beautiful artists and our queen up in here. We doing our thing. So I'm gonna give y'all some of this. It's my favorite song. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, my mind. At 5 in the morning, I wake up to fight for my yearning. The fear in my mind is a warning. Pray to the one we rely in. I've been wandering all day, trying to be fine, but I can't be. The noise in my mind wouldn't leave me. Try to get by, but I'm burning. And behind my mind, it runs. All these thoughts have troubled me. Fighting to give up my pain, fighting to be on my life. time now. I need to free my mind now. I really need mine now. I need to free my mind now. I really need time now. I really need my mind. I really need you now. This is the peace that you cannot buy. Send me a love that you cannot mix. One is the joy that you cannot waste, and the other one price that you cannot fix. This is the peace that you cannot buy. Finding a way when you cannot see. Man can desist if you cannot pray. I need to find release. My mind, it runs. All these thoughts are troubling me. Fighting to give up my pain. Fighting to be on my lane. My mind running from the other side. When it tries to leave my life, then it tries to take me out. Tell you what I need right now. I really need time now. I need to free my mind now. I really need mine now. I need to free my mind now. I really need time now. I need to free my mind now. I really need time now. Set me free, send me to the open skies, deeper than the ice can handle, further than the ice can. Yeah, just set me free. Now it's time to find release. Set me to the open sky. Now it's time to free my mind, yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, deep. I love this song. I might be falling deep. I might be falling deep. I might be falling deep. Tell me now, what do you need? Falling deep. Hey. Baby, if you're looking for me, you know where to find me. I be up on IG. XO.KK you should follow me. Bad little mama here in Vegas from Columbus. Baby, if you're looking for me, you know where to find me. I be up on IG. XO.KK you should follow me. Bad little mama here in Vegas from Columbus. GA. Thank you guys.
And she is absolutely a whole vibe. Follow her at xo.kkmala, MALA, and catch her live shows all around Las Vegas. Kiss Kiss is what that is. And also, if you guys want to have Mr. Rodney Smith come out, talk to you, do a panel discussion, whatever you guys need, make sure that you reach out to us at foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com, and we can get you more information on how you can get him somewhere in your vicinity. Yes. Make sure to tune in every Friday to the I Am Talitha Cumi show at 7:30 p.m. on our FB page and YouTube station, Food for the Soul Media Group, and tell your people. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms, Food for the Soul Media Group, and I am Talitha_Cumi.
And you can follow me at Solid Truth LV. You can also find my website at solidtruth.live, where you can subscribe and get an update on all of the shows that I'm doing. Also follow me at Follow the Fro. Our show tonight has been sponsored in part by the Orlay Collective, The Real Big Bobby B Beats, Eccentric Soul Films, Crisp Products, Solid Truth LLC. Shout out to Kay Griffins LLC. She's in the chat as well. Mm-hmm. And then Mr. Rodney Smith and Kiss Kiss Music. We'll see you guys later. Peace and love. Stay positive, focused, and motivated. Consistency leads to success.